Throughout the United States in the fall, mothers and fathers will arrive on college campuses for Parents' Weekend. At the University of Pennsylvania this weekend, the same ritual is being played out. From freshmen to seniors, the parents have come to lend encouragement, offer advice, and perhaps to reach into their pockets just one more time. From California or from the other side of Philadelphia, parents have arrived to see their children. Since Penn was founded in 1740, this tradition has continued. Junior fullback Joe Lorano welcomes his parents from Revere, Massachusetts each weekend when Penn is home and away. Senior center Steve Bonato of Philadelphia has seen his dad in the stands since Pop Warner days. Mr. Bonato has never missed a game. With today's game against Harvard and the showdown with Cornell next week, Penn hopes to become the first Quaker team since 1904 to go undefeated and untied. And I'm sure Mr. Bonato will be there for both games.
The site is historic Franklin Field, originally opened in 1895 with the first running of the Penn Relays. Its present double-deck version is 64 years old, highlighted by the years 1938 through 42 when the University of Pennsylvania led the nation in football attendance with over 1.7 million people. Many of the thousands of Pennsylvania parents are still filing into the stands and hoping they will see Penn take one step closer to its first perfect season in 82 years. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Philadelphia. I'm Brian Dowling, along with me, Bob Cassiola. Bob, we've got a matchup this afternoon of two sort of teams going in different directions. Harvard 2-6, Penn undefeated. Penn looking for their 5th Ivy Championship, 3rd outright. They're playing loose, and they're playing with a lot of confidence.
They're playing with a lot of confidence because Ed Zubrow, their first-year coach, has kept the pressure off of them. He said, I'll answer all the questions to the press. I'll take on the responsibilities of the undefeated season. You just go out and have fun. And I think one of the things that's been most impressive about Pennsylvania is they haven't had a bad day. They've been very consistent about every game they play against every opponent, and they expect to do the same today.
Well, there are two things that might have an effect on an obvious edge to Penn. One is Ivy competition, where the favorite sometimes is a kiss of death. And another thing is the Harvard-Penn series. Harvard's dominated since the Ivy League was formalized, and prior to the resurgence of Penn in '82, they had won 9 straight, 15 out of 16. But the last 4 years, the teams have split. In fact, the last 4 seasons, Penn has lost 2 Ivy games, both to Harvard. Harvard this season, though, has been very inconsistent.
They've been very inconsistent, but Joe Restic was saying just this morning that on this field here in Franklin Field, he's 6-2 against Penn. He feels confident. He thinks that is a factor. The surprise with Harvard this year is the fact that they haven't been able to get their offense going. The multiflex, which they've lived on throughout Joe Restic's career, has really fallen on hard times, basically because they've had injuries to quarterbacks. They've had to replace some speed fellas that they lost early in the season in Rufus Jones and Lamont Greer. They haven't come up with those components. They've played fairly consistently on defense. They just can't get their offense going.
We'll see if weather plays a factor here this afternoon, as if we had a combination of rain, sleet, hail, and snow, and sunshine in the last 10 minutes. We'll be back with the opening kickoff after word from our underwriters. The Ivy League football game of the week is made possible by grants from Chrysler, makers of Plymouth Voyager, where the pride is back. By the financial professionals at Payne Weber. And by GTE, whose companies serve the world in advanced telecommunications, lighting, and precision materials. Franklin Field, site of home of Pennsylvania, as we look at the Ivy League standings for this season. Penn and Cornell up top, undefeated. That showdown next week. Harvard hoping to make their season with an upset this afternoon.
Other games in the Ivy League today. Dartmouth visits Brown. Cornell is at Columbia, and Princeton is in the Yale Bowl against the Bulldogs.
We've got temperature of 37 degrees, 56 humidity, a slight wind from the west, 7 miles an hour. But we mentioned earlier, we were standing down there in some snow and some hail, and right now we've got some got to take a look at Coach Ed Zubrow, and we talked a little bit about possibly looking ahead.
Yes, we did with Ed Zubrow. We asked him an honest question. We said, hey, this is a big game tomorrow for Harvard because they're coming off a very tough season. But for you, could it be that you may be looking ahead to Cornell next week in Ithaca? And he said, Bob, quite frankly, we've tried to keep that pressure on our kids by telling them, hey, we got 2 games left. We're looking at an undefeated season. Harvard's #1 tomorrow. Next week, it's Cornell. We'll see what happens today.
Well, I can tell you from experience, they're really not looking ahead because they know Cornell's undefeated in the league. They're undefeated. Nothing's going to happen to change the destiny out of their hands without winning this afternoon. And an undefeated season is very important.
Well, how about on the other side? You've played in the big Harvard-Yale game. Harvard looks ahead next week to play Yale, no matter what the records. That is a big game for them. Could it be that they're looking beyond Penn?
Well, both Harvard and Yale have had frustrating seasons this year, and this afternoon, an upset against Penn would make Harvard's season. So that's what they're thinking about this afternoon. If it doesn't happen, then they can think about Yale. But right now, Pennsylvania is on their mind. So we take a look at Jim Grass, who will kick off for Pennsylvania. Junior out of Ottsville, Pennsylvania. Been very consistent in the kicking game. 4 out of 7 field goals, hasn't had to attempt many.
We'll see early what can happen because the big difference in this Harvard football team in 1986 has been their offense. They're going to get their hands on the football right away to see what they can do against a very rugged and also fast. Pennsylvania has a good running defense. They run to the football well. Joe Restic is prepared to try a few formation changes. We'll see what happens right away because they're going to get the football as we begin this game.
Gratz's own 16. And out to the 37-yard line, where Harvard will put in play 1st and 10. Here's how Harvard stacks up their front line. And the backfield, Tom Yohe, quarterback. Be the first time all year Harvard started with their quarterback 3 consecutive games. So they've had a lot of people play quarterback for him this season. Tom Yohe, sophomore. Joe Restic has not gone with many sophomores over the years. The pitch, and out to the 44-yard line. Brian O'Neill and a fumble. Pennsylvania's got it.
And who made the tackle? Number 30, Jeff Fortner, the senior, the outstanding senior linebacker on the outside. And here comes O'Neill. You'll see 30 come right up. And there's the hit, and Fortner comes up with the football. And Pennsylvania immediately gets a break and takes over in great field position.
One of the things that's plagued Harvard this year is turnovers. They're a -15 for the season, which is indicative of the record so far. Jim Krochicki, the quarterback, is going to pass on 1st down. He's looking deep for Saunders, and overthrown, intercepted. And number 20, Don Eberle with the interception. Krochicki going for it all on 1st down.
Krochicki off a play action to the strong fake to the tailback, and he's looking deep as he looks upfield for Saunders. He overthrows Saunders, and the center fielder plays it perfectly. In this position, in this case, it was the cornerback Eberle who came right over the shoulder, made the interception, and was quick enough and smart enough to get it out of the end zone and bring it back. It's not great field position, but at least they've turned the momentum around very quickly here, Harvard.
Don Eberle coming up with a big play. Harvard from their own 2, George Sabaro, out to about the 4. A new nose tackle for Penn on defense. Stevenson replacing Dexter Desir and Michael Graves. So Jeff Fortner, the key man in the secondary and the linebacking position for Pennsylvania. Harvard looking at a 2nd down and 7 from their own 4. Tom Yohe, the quarterback. Sabara again. And up to about the 8-yard line.
Tom Yohe is a sophomore. He has all the ability that is really needed for this type of offense. He can run the football. He's got a good arm. He just lacks experience. He's been thrust into this situation because of injuries. And you know what that can do for a young quarterback. Here he is trying to get this offense going and trying to get field position.
Plus, he didn't start until the 5th game, too, so he's really inexperienced. Harvard looking for a 1st down, and very close goes Joe Fusateri out to about the 13-yard line.
Just keeping it on the ground, getting off tackle. Inskeep, the inside linebacker, Rick Inskeep, number 37, comes up to make the play. But this Harvard team, they're looking for a break. They're looking for momentum. They got the ball back on an interception, and now they've got a 1st down. It would be very important for them to sustain some kind of a drive because their offense, as we noted earlier, has been the question mark.
There's no question, and to give the ball over to Penn on the 1st down to get it back quickly without giving up any points is very important early in the game. Yohe on the roll. And he's got Phillips, who comes back for the ball, complete at the 20-yard line.
Neil Phillips is only a junior. He's been inserted in the lineup because of injuries at the split end position. Phillips is a junior from Germantown, Maryland, came up with the catch, defended on the play by Brad Hippensteel, the outstanding junior linebacker, outside linebacker, who's really played a big role. That's Neil Phillips. Seen a lot of action of late, number 15. He's got the speed to get upfield and get deep, and that is badly needed in this Harvard offense.
Far on motion, they pitch to O'Neal, and barely gets back to the line of scrimmage, out to about the 23-yard line.
Coming into this game, Harvard was hopeful of using a variety of formations, trying to find the weak point, if there is one, in the Penn defense. So far, they've come up with that single back and 2 wing backs in a double wing combination featuring the fullback.
Plus, with the multiplex and Penn showing earlier in the season against Yale and against Princeton on strange formations, they're going to keep that back in the backfield because otherwise they're going to come with an all-out blitz, give the quarterback no time to throw. I think with a sophomore quarterback, you want to give him that little extra edge. 3rd down, very short. And incomplete, number 26, Bob Glatz.
Little play action pass trying to hit Glatz out of the backfield, upfield. Pretty good sequence. They got the ball. They made them some 1st downs. They got a chance to punt the ball, get their defense on the field. But for Harvard, they moved the ball. I think that'll be a confidence builder as they move along here in this game.
I think that was a real surprise going on play action 3rd and 1, hoping to catch Penn bunched up and getting a big play. O'Neal gets a low snap, gets a good kickoff. Chris Flynn knocked back to his 37-yard line and finally brought down at the 45. Where Penn will put in play for the 2nd time, also in good field position.
Joe Restic very concerned about the kicking game, the very good specialty teams of Penn, led by Chris Flynn. He is such a dynamite player who creates situations. Coming into this game, he was very concerned about that. Good job of coverage. Penn has the ball on their own 45, 1st and 10. That punt of O'Neal traveled 40 yards. 8-yard return by Chris Flynn.
Penn utilizing 2 tight ends, Novoselsky and Scott Skunjo, number 81. An unbalanced line, the pitch to Camizio. It's a block and breaks a tackle across midfield and down to the 46-yard line. Pickup of almost 9 yards.
Looking at this Penn offense now, you see that's experience up front. Those linemen have all played together. 4 out of the 5 starters from last year. Novoselsky, the outstanding tight end. Of course, the split end in the backfield, Andrews and Krochicki, the veteran quarterback.
2nd down and 1 at the Harvard 46-yard line. Fake and give to Clark, and he gets a 1st down to the 41. Greg Williams on the stop for Harvard. Harvard's front 5. And Captain Scott Collins keying the Harvard defense.
That ADJ stands for adjuster. He's the rover back, the monster back. They call him the adjuster in their defensive thoughts.
Comizio cuts inside the 35 down to the 33.
Number 40, Comizio, carrying the football, a senior from New Fairfield, Connecticut, the finance major out of the Wharton School, running up, getting great blocks on the right side by Panzini, the right guard, and the right tackle, Marty Peterson. Very impressive stats for 86. 810 yards coming into this ball game.
Anytime you have an over a 5-yard average per carry, you know he's doing a job, and his front 5 are doing a job too. Far again on the cutback inside the 30 down to the 27-yard line. Mike Hirschland on the stop for the Crimson.
They just slip the ball to the fullback about 6-7 times a game. Keep you honest inside. Tommy Clark is a senior, number 34, noted for his blocking. He's come along as a runner for him because of the injury to Joe Lorano, who was the starting fullback. But they keep you honest with that fullback inside. Right now they're featuring Comizio. The last time we saw Penn, they alternated Comizio and Flynn. Right now they're letting him run with the entire series.
And once again shifting to the unbalanced line to the left with 2 tight ends that side. The pitch to Comizio. Off tackle, goes outside, and Richardson's got him, but he picks up just about 1 yard down to the 26-yard line.
When they come with an unbalanced line like that, they're trying to get you out of position. That time they brought the 2 ends over. You've described it. What they're trying to do is get the defense not to make the shift and take advantage of the quickness of Comizio. That time they adjusted to it, which was a good one by the adjuster Richardson to make the play.
Well, and also, Bob, with the unbalanced line, the nose tackle for Harvard has to shift over because the center of the line is no longer the center. It's the guard to that side. So Penn now looks at a 2nd down and 9 at the Harvard 26. Chicky to throw. He's looking for Novoselsky on the corner pattern, and just off his fingertips in the end zone.
Novoselsky, the junior from Skokie, Illinois, is not only an outstanding blocker. He's got the size at 6'3", 235, but as we see from Krochicki's pass, he's got the speed to get deep, and there he is. Just a little bit long, but he is a great weapon when you can get a tight end deep in the corner, as you well know, with that kind of speed.
And there you saw in the replay too, Novoselsky wearing the gloves this afternoon, which he might take off because of the wet AstroTurf. Sometimes the gloves get wet and are more of a hindrance than a help. 3rd down and 9. Andrews in motion. Harvard coming with a blitz and the draw, and he gets nothing. Very tough play to run against the blitz. Scott Collins on the stop.
Scott Collins, the captain from Elmhurst, Illinois, the economics major who wants to go on to Wall Street for a while and then eventually perhaps become a lawyer. Collins has led this team with 68 tackles. And that time, Harvard took a chance. They came with a blitz. They were looking to put pressure on the quarterback. They ran the draw play, and the blitz messed up the blocking assignments, and Collins made the hit.
Comizio becoming Penn's all-time leading rusher last week. And as you saw, not only this season has a 5-yard average, but for his career, a 5-yard average. A very productive career for Rich Comizio. Jim Grass on the field goal attempt, and wide to the right. So Harvard holds on again. Will take over 1st and 10 at their own 26-yard line. We had a forecast of a nice day. It started off a little doubtful, but it seems to be pretty good right now. There's not much of a breeze.
There's not much wind, and the field, of course, on the AstroTurf is an advantage because it dries out fairly well, and at least you can keep your traction going.
Sabaro on the pitch and out to the 35-yard line. Good pickup. Almost 8 yards.
You know, over the years, we mentioned earlier, Harvard plays Penn tough. So far in this quarter, they've gotten a few breaks. They've held in there on defense on 2 occasions. It looks to me that they're up for this game. They're very much in it, and as you mentioned earlier, this is a big game for them. They've had a tough year. If they can pull an upset here, it'll make their season and get them prepared for next week in Yale.
And one of the things Harvard wanted to do is if they stayed close, then Penn's thinking, well, if they've had trouble with this team in the past, maybe they'll have trouble with them again. Watts looking wide, and he's run down. Pickup of about 1 yard.
Penn has had problems at the nose guard position. Dexter Desir, their senior and outstanding player, broke his wrist against Princeton. Mike Graves, the junior, hurt his knee. He's out. They came with Kyle Stevenson, a sophomore, today in the starting nose position. He's on the sideline. They're looking him over. It looks like he has an injury. So their third nose guard has gone down. That's going to force them to shift some new personnel into the ball game. They've come with Ross Parsons, number 61 at the nose position, a sophomore, very inexperienced.
3rd down and a half a foot. And we'll have to wait until they unpile them. We mentioned Harvard's inconsistency on offense this year, but their defense has been pretty good.
They just threw a flag in the air. Besides looking at the measurement, the yellow flag was thrown up by the official.
Joe Restic struggling this year, but Harvard's all-time winning coach. Unsportsmanlike conduct indicated by the official against Penn. So a big break for Harvard will put them close to midfield. Actually over midfield into Penn territory. Down to the 47-yard line.
Dead ball, unsportsmanlike, defense, first down.
The referee, Charlie Clue from Richmond, Virginia, the referee in today's game.
George Sabaro going in motion. The give to O'Neill at fullback. And he gets short yardage down to the 45-yard line. Sebastianelli, along with Jeff Fortna on the stop for Pennsylvania.
Sebastianelli, the senior defensive tackle at 6'2", 242, the sociology major, whose dad played center at Penn back in the early 50s. An outstanding player all year for the Quakers. He's got to do a job today because of the injuries at the nose guard position. They got to get more and more support out of their defensive tackles.
2nd down and 8, and nobody behind Yowie. The quick dump, Sabaro at the sideline, immediately tackled. He gets to the 41. Well defended by the Penn defense.
Hippensteel, the outside linebacker, 99, came up to make the hit, but Harvard is trying a lot of things. It looks like they're trying a possession-type game, possession-type passes. They want to make first downs. Joe Restic has said, let's get first downs, hold the ball, keep their offense off the field.
They'll get the touchdowns if they get the first downs, and also getting rid of the ball quickly, taking the pressure off the sophomore quarterback, Tom Yowie. 3rd down and 4 at the Pennsylvania 41. The option. Yowie keeps it down to the 35, and he's got a first down.
As we have seen over the years, in the multiflex offense, the quarterback is important as a runner. They haven't had that kind of operator at quarterback this fall. Yowie gives him that if he can stay healthy. At 6 foot, 180 pounds, he's got the size and the quickness to operate from that position.
Harvard sending in plays with their wide receivers. Number 29, Joe Conley, who had some injured ribs against Princeton, but is back in the lineup this afternoon. The pitch to O'Neill. He cuts back inside the 30 and down to the 28. Bangmeyer on the stop for Penn.
Excellent up front, a very fine job of the right side of the Harvard line as the pitch is made to the tailback as he runs in here. Good blocking by 76 Bednar. The tackle gives him the hole, and he gets upfield. And again, those runners, those ball carriers are looking for first downs.
And Harvard scores first here. It's going to make a lot of people on the Pennsylvania side start to wonder whether Harvard is really a 2-6 team. They're looking at a 2nd down and 3. Sabaro fumbles it, and Pennsylvania's got it. George Sabaro never got the handle on the handoff from Tom Yowie.
Mike Lista came up, the defensive tackle, a junior, 94, to make the play. And as we see it here, Sabaro just never had the ball, never had possession of it. It looked like the quarterback got it into him. Tough break for Harvard. They had the drive going. Penn gets the football back, and now Krochicki takes over with his offense. The ball sitting on the Penn 27-yard line.
Well, they give the ball up, but in pretty good field position for the Harvard defense. So Penn will take over at their own 26-yard line. Andrews in motion. Camizio on the crossbuck. Over the 30 out to the 34-yard line. Don Eberle on the stop for Harvard.
Camizio, who likes to run outside, very effective early in the first quarter here, running off tackle behind the blocks of his big tackle, Marty Peterson, the senior, number 76 on the right side.
First time since 1924, and the first time since 1904 when they've had the last perfect season. So they're fighting history this afternoon. Krochicki on the roll to the left. Pressure in his face, thrown up for grabs and almost intercepted by number 16, Rick Patton.
Greg Williams, the defensive tackle, came right up in the face of Krochicki, and he really forced the football, came away being lucky that he didn't throw the interception. As he sprints to the left, we'll see number 89 come from the top of the screen, get right up in his face and force him to throw over him. And that's the punishment you take as a quarterback, how you well
That's
know.
true, and particularly on the right arm, he doesn't have a chance to follow through, so the ball stays high and almost picked off by Patton. 3rd down and 3 at the 33-yard line. 2 wide receivers and 2 tight ends for Pennsylvania. And Krochicki moves out, and the penalty is on him.
The Harvard defense, we saw him earlier in the year against Cornell, very active, very quick, not that big. As we look from the end zone at this movement, and it's just Krochicki. He's just lost a little poise there and moved out before he had the snap. It's all on the quarterback. He's running that show. But getting back to the Harvard defense, they were very quick. They played very well. In the last 3 games, the Harvard defense has held the opponents to under 300 yards total offense. They've done the job on defense. It looks like they've come to play today.
And they need a couple of big plays by the offense to keep them in the game against a very seasoned Pennsylvania offense.
We've got a timeout on the field here. As we look at Jim Krochicki, the senior from Southbury, Connecticut, business administration major, come over to talk to his coach at Zubrow.
3:25 left in the first quarter. No score here at Franklin Field. Harvard and Penn, the last 4 years have been a very heated rivalry, starting that 82 game with an extra play after time ran out, giving Penn a victory over Harvard 23-21.
Get up! Get up! Get it up!
Krochicki stays in the pocket, looking for Andrews on the sideline, and way overthrown, but well covered again by Ricky Patton.
And Krochicki looks a little bit concerned. The last couple of passes he's thrown, he hasn't sat back in there and waited. That time he rushed the football and he overthrew it. He just doesn't look like he's as sharp as he's been this fall.
One of the things that's been very strong for Harvard over the years is their defensive secondary, and so far this afternoon they're playing like seasoned veterans.
And you got to remember that all 4, Heberly, Richardson, Jessic, and Patton, are new. They started 4 new people this fall.
Bosnok gets the punt away. Harvard at 38 and well defended. He gets back to the 40, number 20, Don Eberle.
There's a flag back in the vicinity of the kicker. It was thrown by the referee, and it's going to go against Harvard because it's a penalty against roughing the kicker. Big break for Penn.
This is not the type of thing that's counted in turnovers, but almost could be, because you're giving the ball back to him. And no question about the penalty.
Penalty's going to go against number 10, Richard Butcher, a defensive back in on the punting team, who came in from the left side, caught the kicker's leg, and the referee standing right there put the flag down. Penn's got the football, 1st and 10 on its own 44-yard line.
Even though we had some rain and some snow earlier, the track is wet, but the field looks dry. Andrews in motion. Penalty marker down. Comizio gets out to the 48.
Penalty's going to go against Harvard. The defensive right side, right end, jumped offside before the snap. Okay, mistakes now. Tough break against Harvard. Held Penn. Forced him to kick. Penalty against the punter. Now they jump off sides. They've got to keep their poise. The defense has got to keep them in the football game. They have so far, with 3:04 left in the first quarter. No score between Penn and Harvard. The Penn defense playing aggressively, jumps off sides.
So Penn will accept the penalty, giving them a 1st down and 5
Offsides,
at their own 49-yard line.
5-yard penalty, 1st down.
We mentioned this rivalry the last 4 years. Penn winning that game, forcing a three-way tie for the championship. Harvard the next year coming back with a big win and forcing another tie between Penn and Harvard for the championship. So it's this game has been very key as to who comes out on top at the end of the season. Fake to Clark and they give to Flynn. First time to the tailback. He's running wide. He's got a first down. He's run out of bounds at the 36. Chris Flynn, first time at tailback this afternoon for Pennsylvania.
And that's the weapon, the weapons that no other team in the Ivy League has in Chris Flynn and Camizio. This counter play they run so effectively with his kind of quickness and speed. He gets on the corner, and then it's just big yardage. Chris Flynn, the junior halfback from Springfield, Pennsylvania, number 27. And look at those statistics for the backup tailback. Pretty impressive.
A 6.2-yard average. He's the guy that can go wide. Camizio starts wide and usually cuts it up. So the really different types of styles for the two tailbacks. Camizio back in. He gets the call inside the 35 and knocked down at the 34.
Jim Bell, a sophomore playing the nose tackle position, made the hit. Jim Bell is one of the outstanding young players that they're bringing along on defense for Harvard. He's quick. They've got to control him in the middle. He adds some size to that position, something they really don't have across their defensive front. There he is, number 93.
Second down and 7 at the Harvard 34-yard line. Again with the two tight ends and two wide receivers for Pennsylvania. Pressure, and he's sacked. Number 97, Brian Sullivan, throws Krochickia for a loss.
Good quickness on the defense. Penetrated the line of scrimmage. Krochickia tried to come up off a play fake, and 97 Sullivan broke in to make the hit. That's what Harvard's had so far, quickness on their defense. Ed Zubro, his first year as a head coach here at Pennsylvania, undefeated going into the 9th game of the season. He was concerned coming in today. He knew that he's got to keep the pressure on his club. Can't be looking ahead to Cornell. So far in this first quarter, Harvard's matching him defensively.
Third down and 10 for the Quakers at the Harvard 36. Clark up the middle and nowhere. It's number 45, Chris Tabbitt.
There looks to be a little hesitancy on this offense, Brian. That time as Krochickia went back to hand off, he almost was trying to find Clark.
And a very conservative call, too. With two tight ends and two wide receivers, you're really forcing the defense to commit for strength because you haven't declared strength. Fosnot with the punt gets way up in the air, looking for that inside the 20. Eberle, fair catch at the 16-yard line where Harvard will put it in play.
Very unimpressive series there for the Penn Quakers. They really had a lot of hesitancy, some bad calls, some mistakes. That was a 20-yard punt by Fosnot. He was trying to keep it inside the 10-yard line, got it up too high.
Well, he's had 23 inside the 20, and this is 24, so it's a very effective punt. But right, a very conservative call on third down and 10 with an offense that's veteran, a quarterback who's got a lot of confidence. He's got two wide receivers. Very unlikely call on third down and 10. Yowie, the give to O'Neill. The keep and the option, and thrown down right at the line of scrimmage. Bruce McConnell there for Pennsylvania.
Harvard trying to run the option with the quarterback, trying to put a little bit pressure and spread that Penn defense and find a hole, find a seam. That time, Yowie had nowhere to turn as McConnell flowed with the football and got up in his face. What they don't want to come up with are second and long situations. They really don't have that kind of a passing attack to get them off the hook.
The give to O'Neill and outside the 20 to the 21. Hippensteel for Pennsylvania makes the stop.
Very important here for Harvard to keep possession of the football, try and get some first downs, keep their defense off the field.
Talking a little bit about Krochickia again. The only criticism that I can see all year is his tendency to go deep. As the end of the first quarter, so no score here at Franklin Field. Harvard playing Pennsylvania very tough. We had a chance to talk earlier with Steve Bonato's father and asked him on what kind of advice he would give parents who have sons and daughters playing intercollegiate sports.
Well, as I've said many times, not only playing sports, but any endeavor that your child, undertakes, I think as a parent, the best thing you can do is support them, and help them in any way you can with that commitment. So many times they undertake things, and a lot of times with the adversity connected with that undertaking, just knowing that someone's there behind them to give them that little additional support, it does mean a lot. It really does.
Well, there's Steve Bonato on the sideline, and very happy his father's here, and the chance to see him play each week.
What a great thrill for a parent to be able to follow his son throughout his entire career and then see him in his senior year with this kind of a football team, captain of the team, and all the accomplishments. It's just really a thrill to see that happen for anybody.
You know, one of the things, Bob, I was heard of quite a few games in my career at Yale, and my mother ended up seeing more varsity games than I played in. So I had the luxury of a parent seeing me play too. It's a good look at Tom Yohe, the sophomore quarterback.
Yohe made his emergence earlier in the year against Cornell with injuries to the starting quarterbacks. He's been hurt himself with a groin pull of late, but he's come back today to take the starting job and generate some offense here for Joe Restic in the multi-flex.
Again, we've got no backs behind Yohe as he goes on the roll, fake, and he's thrown down. Some confusion there. Jeff Fortna broke up that play along with Kyle Stevenson.
Stevenson back in the game, right? Stevenson came back for that play and penetrated the line of scrimmage with his quickness.
So up till that point, Harvard was 3 for 4 on third down conversions. This time stopped. Brian O'Neill into punt for the Crimson. Low liner. Flynn at midfield. 45 and to the 41. Penalty marker down. You don't see Chris Flynn fair catching very often, and that type of punt, the type of punt you like to get quickly because you can get it before the coverage can get downfield.
Another crucial penalty going against Penn. They had field position inside Harvard territory. They're going to march off a holding penalty here. It's going to push it back outside the 50-yard line, and Penn will take over with the ball sitting on their own 49-yard line, first and 10.
On the return, holding, blue team, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Jim Krochicki's got to settle this offense down and do the things they do best, and that is get the ball to their tailback and their play action passes and get away from making mistakes, especially unnecessary offside or movement mistakes.
And he's been very effective this season throwing underneath and going with the possession patterns, but so far, not this afternoon. He's looking deep. Alexic on the carry for Pennsylvania, the first time we've seen him in a tailback. So one of the many running backs that Penn utilizes and has utilized over the course of the season.
Now they're starting to substitute like they have in the past, bringing Comizio and Flynn in and out on every offensive sequence. Flynn is back in at tailback for Comizio. Alexic is the big fullback up front.
Andrews reverses his motion. Long count by Krochicki, and the give to Flynn. Cut back, cuts back again. He's got some room. Stays on his feet inside the 30 and finally run out of bounds by Ricky Patton at the 26-yard line. Chris Flynn, the ultimate cutback runner.
And that's all he ever looks for, number 27. Very exciting football player. The winner, as they refer to him here. He comes up with those big plays over and over again. And we've seen this play run over and over again this fall. And watch this cut here. But most of all, watch how he lowers and has balance and makes the fake right there, and the ability to start it right from scratch and gain more yardage. What a difference.
So a pickup of 25 yards puts Penn at the Harvard 25-yard line. Alexic pulls his way down to the 21-yard line.
Steve Alexic is 6'1", 230 pounds, number 36. He's a senior, a mechanical engineer from Severna Park, Maryland. They used to bring him in on third down and short goal line situations as a blocker. They're now alternating him at fullback because of the injury to Lorano, he and Clark, and they're giving him the ball once in a while. That time they tried to slip it to him inside. He picked up 4 yards. There he is, number 36, Steve Alexic.
Got an official's timeout down on the field. 13-11 left to go in the half. And no score here at Franklin Field.
One of the characteristics of a good football team is to take an advantage of a situation, whether it's a block punt or good field position. Pennsylvania now is playing with a lot of assuredness. They look like they're really coming after the Harvard defense.
And the type of down and distance situation that Krochicki likes to have, either the pass or the run. Comizio to the 20, and a pickup of barely 1 yard. Ricky Patton on the stop for Harvard. Cornell, the other undefeated team in Ivy League play, out ahead of Columbia 7-0 in the second quarter.
Dartmouth coming off of 2 straight victories. We saw them last week against Columbia. They won the week before against Yale. They're tied with Brown and Providence, and no score in the second quarter. Princeton in the bowl against Yale.
And we got Scott Collins.
Injury on the field, yes.
Down on the field for Harvard.
Collins, the captain, the senior, the leading tackler on this team.
Type of player Harvard cannot do without. And it doesn't look, by his reaction, very promising.
That's a lower leg injury.
Continuing this afternoon, so we'll see.
Part of the big Parents' Day crowd with the band entertaining here at Franklin Field. Very exciting season for Penn football. You just feel it. People are very proud of their football team.
They sure are, and with the record that they've compiled the last 5 seasons in the Ivy League, it really turned the program around.
And more importantly, we learned that their freshman team went undefeated this year. That means in the last 3 years, they've had 2 undefeated teams in 3 years. Outstanding.
And 2 of those freshman players are up here in the booth with us. Derek Crowther from Atlanta, Georgia is spotting for us. And Franklin Ferguson from Springfield, Illinois is our stage manager. So we want to thank them for their help this afternoon. And some more good players coming along for Pennsylvania. Scott Collins still down on the sideline. Trainer's looking at his knee. Here's another look.
What happens there is as Comizio lowers, he comes up to make the hit, but he gets hit from behind by a Harvard defender and also a Penn blocker, and it may have been that he got caught from behind and may have had that hyperextension of that knee.
Coach Joe Restic, Harvard's all-time winning coach.
Joe Restic in his 16th season at Harvard. Joe Restic normally would be probably considering what's going to happen next week against Yale, but he knows that this game is very important to his squad. As we mentioned already, it could be the upset of the year for him, and when you look at his record against Penn, you know he's had his team prepared for him. He's had great success, and right here at Franklin Field, he's won 7 out of 9 games. So coming into this game, he knew the record was tough, but Joe was hopeful that he could hang in there close, keep his defense off the field, and maybe generate some offense for the first time. Joe Restic is a Villanova graduate, so he's coming home to Philadelphia. Played at Villanova, coached throughout the Ivy League, Canadian football. And unfortunately, they've taken captain Scott Collins off the field on a stretcher, so it's got to be a lower leg injury. Just keep our fingers crossed it's not too serious. He will be replaced in the lineup by number 54, John Keenan, a senior linebacker.
We talked a little bit about the tendency to look ahead, but coming off last year's loss to Harvard, Pennsylvania they're not taking Harvard lightly. They were really dominated last year.
They were very upset about the loss to Harvard because it took a great effort the week after against Dartmouth to win and finally win the Ivy League. So it affected them greatly, and they don't forget those things.
3rd down and 6. Penn so far 0 for 3 on 3rd down conversions. Krochicki on to give to Flynn. Cuts it back. Nowhere to run. Looking wide. Still, he's in trouble, and he's knocked down finally at the 28-yard line.
Only got worse.
And that is a very big play for the Harvard defense, emotionally and otherwise. They really boxed him in. They didn't go with the fakes, and they stayed around. And finally, he ran out of moves for one of the few times this year.
He's been so successful on this cutback that Harvard, obviously watching films of the games they've had in the past, waiting at home for him.
Just look like they're closing in on the enemy. I mean, what a sight. Great shot by our cameraman.
So Pennsylvania now looks at a 4th down and 12 at the Harvard 27-yard line, and they're going to go for it. We're going the field goal attempt. Novoselsky flexes at his tight end position. Looking to throw, looking deep. He's pressured. He throws back, and he's got Novoselsky at the 13. Breaks a tackle inside the 10 to the 8. First down, Pennsylvania.
Pressure on the quarterback, Krochikia. He got the ball away as Novoselsky came across the formation. You see the pressure here. He gets the ball away. Novoselsky's come across from the right side to the left side. Not only makes the catch, he takes the pad right there, knows where the first down markers are, and gets it.
A very soft lobby throw by Krochikia, but Novoselsky coming back to the ball was wide open. First down and goal for Pennsylvania inside the Harvard 10. Pitch to Comizio, off tackle, and he's knocked down at the 9.
Great play there by the adjuster, Jack Patterson, 46, who came up and made an open field tackle on Rich Comizio. And he hit him low. Didn't give him a chance to give him that shoulder and made the play. Big play by the defense. Second down and 10. He lost a yard. Injury report on Scott Collins coming back to us. It was a knee injury, and he will not be back today.
Second down and goal, just inside the 10. Krochikia on the roll left, looking for Andrews. Novoselsky, and overthrown out back of the end zone. Pressured on Krochikia by number 93, Jim Bell.
And many times you said for the right-handed quarterback, rolling left, tough pass to make. That time he couldn't get his shoulders around and put anything on it. But good coverage also in the secondary for Penn.
I wouldn't be surprised to see the type of play that they used to convert that 4th down, throw the tight end underneath. Roll out one way, throw the tight end. Novoselsky's been a key receiver for Pennsylvania all year, and it's very tough to cover that throwback.
Krochikia wants to be sure here he's called timeout. But following up on that point, how many times does a quarterback in a crucial situation come to the guy he's got most confidence in or has had most success with? Novoselsky's that kind of a receiver.
Well, there's no question. The guy that's you have confidence, it's the type of play that you're going to call in the situation where you need the gain, and going to the receiver that's done it for you in the past. As he catches touchdown passes, he increases the confidence in the quarterback, so he's going to go for him.
Novoselsky was the guy who made the catches, very crucial catches against Navy, and which was the biggest win of the season outside the league for Penn, and brought national attention to this ball club. And Novoselsky, the junior from Skokie, Illinois, outstanding player, is a guy we can look for in this situation.
I had the real luxury when I was playing at Yale that I had a lot of real good receivers, so I had confidence in all of them. My concern was spreading the passes around so they'd all be happy, but Krochikia's got some good receivers here, but the key man is his tight end.
Well, when you look at the ball sitting on the 10-yard line, you got 3rd and 10. The defense knows you got to come up with some kind of a pass play. The tight end is somebody you look for, mainly because a linebacker could end up covering him. That or some kind of a throw to a back coming out of the backfield. Right now they come out with a single back, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers.
3rd down for Jim Krochikia, right at the Harvard 10. Harvard uptight looking in. They're coming with a blitz. Give to Alexic, and he's smacked down at the 7-yard line.
Surprising call.
Another very conservative call, similar to the one in the last period on 3rd down and 10.
You'd have to say with that call that they were really settling to go for 3 here. They just didn't want to cough the ball up or give up possession because they ran a fullback back inside. Danny Steer, the nose guard for Harvard, number 75, made the hit. And here we are going for 3.
Well, Jim Grass will attempt the field goal. He's 4 out of 7 for the year. The kick will be from the 15, so it'll make it a 25-yard attempt. Ball is down, it's up, and it's good. So Pennsylvania on the board first here this afternoon. Goes ahead of Harvard 3-0 with 9:33 left to go in the half. Harvard coming out with a moral victory, just giving up 3 points. Pennsylvania with a 1st and goal at the 8-yard line. Here's one of the many successful Penn alumni and the varied types of
background
callings they go into after they get out of school.
Well, there's many alumni here today. There are many parents here today.
I wonder if he's got the hot dog concession here at Franklin Field. So Penn on the board first here this afternoon with a 25-yard field goal by Jim Grass.
Harvard's got to feel very good about their defense. They hung in there. They played tough, gave up only 3 points. They're moving to the football well. They're giving Penn is working hard to get whatever yardage they can. And if they can stay close, we know anything can happen.
That play was, or that drive took 8 plays, just under 5 minutes, 43 yards, and capped off by the 25-yard field goal by Jim Grass. One of the things, too, as a quarterback, talking about Krochicki again, with his first pass of the afternoon intercepted, the confidence level that you have in your defense and your offense, the interceptions don't bother you. I can tell you firsthand, I threw a bunch of them, but you knew you're going to get another chance to get back on the field, and you couldn't wait to get back out there.
And that should be the case with Jim Krochicki because he's an experienced quarterback. He's been through this all before.
Glatz at his 8-yard line. The 20 cuts back out to the 30 to the 32 where Hahvahrd will put it in play. Return to 24 yards by Jim Glatz. So Hahvahrd looking for a little more consistency, not having the fumbles or the penalties to break up their drives. Tom Yohe, the quarterback. O'Neill and Sobara behind him, and the left tackle, Freelo, jumps the start count.
The sophomore, Maurice Freelo from Denver, Colorado, moved a little bit too quick. And Harvard's going to start off 1st and 15 as they push the ball back to their own 26-yard line.
In fact,
dead ball, false start, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
Other than Jim Bell on defense, Freelo is the only sophomore starter for the Crimson this season.
Along with the quarterback.
Along with the quarterback.
Tom Yohe.
To begin the season. Yohe, the give to Sabara, spins out to the 26.
Jeff Fortner comes up to make the hit. Pennsylvania's defense really very good at running to the football, moves well on the run. That time Fortner, the outside linebacker, made the hit. Comes up with 1 yard, so it's 2nd down and 14 with the ball sitting on the Hahvahrd 27-yard line.
Saw a shot of the scoreboard. Franklin Field, the site of the first stadium scoreboard when Franklin Field was open in 1895. 2nd down and 14. Yohe, incomplete. Looking for number 29, Joe Conley. Brad Hippensteel on the coverage. So Yohe again trying to get that ball quickly to his receivers to take that pass rush pressure off his shoulders.
Penn defense now trying to take the lead, get the ball back, get good field position, because they probably expected at this stage to be in better control of this football game. Now leading only 3-0. The defense has to make the play and get the ball back in good field position.
3rd down and 14. Yohe on the roll, looking deep. Throws back to Conley. He's got him at the 38 and out of bounds at the 40-yard line, but not enough for a 1st down.
But a very good play that time by the quarterback as he rolled away from trouble, and by the receiver Conley, who was heavily covered here. Yohe coming to the sideline. Conley comes back to the football to make the catch. Had to come back because the defender, number 46, Brad Hines, was all over him.
And coaches constantly harp, come back to the football. If you do, the defensive backs cannot cover it. He did it that time, but just short of a 1st down by 2 yards. O'Neill will punt it away for Hahvahrd. This time a little bit higher. Flynn at his own 29. And immediately knocked down at the 32. Number 57, Guy Nagahama from Pearl City, Hawaii. So the Hahvahrd varsity represented by people from all over the country.
Yale trying to reverse itself. They've had a couple of tough weeks, leading Princeton up in New Haven 3-0. Boston College coming on strong here, looking for a bowl bid. And out of the Big Ten, Ohio State leads Wisconsin at halftime.
Get up! Get up!
Krochickia, the draw on first down to Comizio, cuts back over the 35-yard line. Chris Tabbitt on the stop for the Crimson.
Chris Tabbitt, the junior linebacker from Encino, California, in for the captain, Scott Collins, who injured his knee and will not return today. Tabbitt came in and made the play. He's got good speed, and he stayed with Comizio, almost mirrored him on the defense, kept him to a 3-yard gain. 2nd down and 7. The ball's on the Penn 36-yard line. Other scores around the country.
Get it up! Get it up! Get it up!
Joyce in motion for the Quakers.
Get it up!
The fake. Krochickia looking to throw underneath. He's got him at the 45. Across midfield. Number 86, Ed Solari.
And that's the kind of pass that can do it for you. The good, strong play action. When you have a tailback like Comizio or Flynn, you have people respect you, and then you're able to make that pass.
And we see Krochickia, maybe he overheard us, throwing the underneath pattern. Getting the ball to the receivers, let them run after the catch.
Solari, only a sophomore. Good speed, good quickness, starting to see more action as this season progresses.
So Penn with a first down at the Harvard 46. Joyce again goes in motion. The fake pitch and they give to Clark up the middle, and he gets down to the 42.
You got to come back to the things you do well, the things that have gotten you there. We've heard that so many times. The tailbacks and the short control passing game. And Jim Krochickia, they asked him to just do that. Operate the offense. Don't do the extraordinary. We've got guys in the backfield that can do that for you.
Particularly with the effectiveness of the tailback, really opens up the play action. But I'll tell you, as a former quarterback, you like to throw the bomb every now and then.
Got to keep image.
That's right. Anybody can throw the 5-yard passes. Krochickia now with a 2nd down and 7. Looks to throw his tight end in the flat, incomplete, and well covered. Tony Cretton all over Brent Novoselsky.
Tony Cretton is a senior playing the free safety position. They had man coverage that time. They gambled. They tried to put pressure on the quarterback. There's a flag down on the field here. It's probably going to go against Harvard. Probably a late hit on the quarterback. And it's a big one.
15-yard penalty, the type of penalty Harvard could ill afford.
Kind of penalties.
Personal foul, roughing the passer defense. First
That's
down.
it. They roughed the passer. They came on the blitz. They got to Krochickia. They hit him. They made a big play defensively in the secondary, but they were caught for that. It's nullified. Penn has the football on the Harvard 28-yard line, 1st and 10.
Long count by Krochickia, looking to throw. Underneath, almost intercepted. Number 45, Chris Tabbitt, almost with a pickoff for the Harvard.
Great action by Tabbitt. You notice the Harvard defense jumping a little bit. That Krochickia must be changing the cadence a little bit to get them off sides or just anticipate them coming off sides.
Well, one of the things a quarterback likes to do is to negate that aggressiveness on the defense.
Come over here, Tom.
To
Tom, come over here.
give the long snap count, you get them off balance and possibly a penalty and a free play. 2nd down and 10. They give to Comizio. It cuts back and inside the 20, very close to a first down.
And there's the balance in the offense, the ability to come up on a 3rd and long situation and slip the ball to Comizio.
There's one of the coaches for Penn in a little strange coaching garb.
Yeah, well, he's their spiritual coach, I think. He gets them elevated and ready to go. Into the ball game now at tailback is Chris Flynn, who today has set a Penn single-season all-purpose running record. 53 yards today gives him 1,394 for the season.
3rd down and 1, and a give to Clark. Very close to a first down. And he does not get it, so it's 4th down and about 1.
Big decision now. Ed Zubro has to decide he should go for this without any question, and he will. He needs it because he needs to elevate this team offensively. They need to make this first down and keep on a drive. They're only leading 3-0 with 5:28 left in the 2nd quarter.
And he's got a lot of confidence in that front 5. 2 tight ends, Novoselsky and Scungio. 4th down and 1. Comizio fumble, Harvard recovers. Don Eberle at the 24-yard line. So we've had a number of key turnovers on both sides of the ball.
And you see it here. It's just an off-tackle slant. He's going to hand the ball back to him on a counter, and he's looking back to go back there. He never got the football.
What happened was Comizio stumbled a little bit on his start, so he was looking down and really didn't see the ball as Krachicki was handing it to him.
And Eberle came up with the play. He's made several already today. That's the junior from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. Number 20, Dan Eberle. Big play for the defense, Harvard offense on the field with 5:12 remaining in the second quarter.
The pitch to Pusateri, cuts it back and out over the 30-yard line. A pickup of almost 7 yards.
Harvard defense holding him close. Joe Restic wanted that. He wanted to stay close with him, keep in this ball game, and hopefully get a break somewhere along the way, get some points on the board. They've got the ball back in their own territory.
One of the things we've talked about, Bob, is really the lack of speed on Harvard, and the two people that gave him that in the past, Rufus Jones and Lamont Greer, are out for the season with knee injuries.
Lamont Greer, the split receiver, gave you the deep threat. Rufus Jones with the speed to get on the corner.
Yohe on the option and tripped up right at the line of scrimmage.
Yohe ran the option, but he was thinking. He knew he had a 2nd down and 2. He wanted to get the 1st down. He went to keep the ball. But the ever-present number 30, Jeff Fortner, outstanding football player. 5 sacks this year, 1 interception. Leading tackler, made the hit.
Excuse me, but he made that tackle. He was on the ground. So he's even active when he's not on his feet.
From Cleona, Pennsylvania, majoring in biology, looking towards a career in medicine.
So Harvard, 3 out of 6 on 3rd down conversions to give to Pusateri, and up over the 35-yard line, and 1st down for Harvard.
Good job by the offensive line that time. The right side, Dave Bednar, the tackle, a tight end, Ed Boyle, really moved him out and gave Pusateri a chance to cut upfield and get the 1st down.
One of the things that we've noticed so far in Harvard's game plan is even when he throws the ball, it's very short passes. So what's going to happen? Penn defensive backs are really becoming closer and closer. So he's got to throw one, even if it's incomplete, to get them off the receivers. Time winding down here in the first half. Yohe. Pressured and sacked. Back to the 27-yard line. A.J. Sebastianelli on the stack for the Quakers.
And that's the inexperience of a sophomore. You know, in that situation, you can't afford to take that loss. You got to get rid of it.
That's right. And when he was being pressured, he still had, particularly going to his right, he still had his right arm free, but not very long.
Sebastianelli really up in his face, making a big play. And there's the effort of Fortner coming from the outside. The backside pursues the quarterback, never lets up, and gets a piece of that tackle also.
So Harvard now 2nd down and a whole bunch. No backs behind Yohe. The quick throw. He's got Conley. And tackled there by number 11, Tom Flynn. Pickup of about 7 yards.
Just trying to get the ball out wide to Conley, go one-on-one on the cornerback that time. Flynn made a good job of keeping his position that time. You know, Jeff Fortner, getting back to the number 30, that senior linebacker. Penn graduated, they play a 4-linebacker defense. They graduated 3 of their 4 linebackers. He was the only veteran returning, and he has been the real leader out there for him, both in the statistics department and also just what he gives to this team in morale. He's a great competitor. Okay, another tough situation for this sophomore. 3rd down and 11, the ball on his own 34. He's got to get the 1st down.
We'll still probably see a short pass underneath. And he's looking for his tight end, Boyle, but underthrown at the 44-yard line. So Harvard will have to kick it away. Harvard sending everybody upfield, the tight end coming underneath, but the ball underthrown. Brian O'Neill to punt. The fullback had a separated shoulder earlier, and it gets a good kick. Knocks Flynn back to his 21. Breaks the tackle, and he's out to the 35 to the 37. So Chris Flynn, ever dangerous as a punt returner.
Ever dangerous, and we repeat, today he has set the Penn single-season all-purpose running record. You add what he got on that punt, plus the 53 yards earlier, and he's well over 1,400 yards this season. Chris Flynn. Look at those moves.
punt of 44 yards, but a return of 15. So only a net of 29 to Harvard. First down and 10 at the 37-yard line for Pennsylvania. Krochickia on the play action screen. He's got Jim Bruni and wrestled down from behind. Number 75, Dan Steer, but a pickup of about 8 yards.
But a great play by Steer, because he's the nose guard and he is normally responsible for screens, and he picked up the screen and he continued to pursue. That could have been a much bigger play for Pennsylvania. That was a very good call by Krochickia on the sideline, because they screened on first down and caught Harvard looking for the run.
2nd and 3 as we close in and 1 minute left to go in the first half. And he throws to Joyce, complete at the Harvard 48 and knocked out at the 46. Tom Richardson on the stop for Harvard. Getting out of bounds. Joyce, the junior receiver, that's his 12th reception this year for over 160 yards. You know, we talked about the depth that Penn has in the backfield. They've also got out the wide receiver. Andrews and Saunders have been the starters, but Joyce and Heisey have also seen a lot of action for Pennsylvania.
And Solari, they brought along their younger receivers this year. They're giving them a chance to play. Krochickia now has to come up with some plays. Got to get close enough to maybe have a shot at another field goal.
Again with a play action, pressured. He's got Andrews and smacked down at the 40-yard line. Don Eberle.
Eberle playing an outstanding game from his cornerback position. Diagnosed it, kept the receiver up front in front of him, wouldn't let him get out of bounds, and makes a big hit here.
And Harvard will give up the short pass, particularly if he can keep him in bounds and make Pennsylvania use some of their timeouts, as they take one here with 49 seconds to go in the first half. Penn ahead 3-0.
And Harvard hanging in there tough, and this is what they were looking for. They wanted to stay close with him the first half, and the defense has done it for them. They've played very aggressively. They've run to the football. They really haven't given up the big play today. And the Penn offense until the last 2 series has really hasn't been that impressive.
And we saw Harvard earlier in the season against Cornell in a 3-0 game, and Harvard very impressive on defense, but you got to get something on offense, and they need a big play or they need a turnover deep territory. But Pennsylvania has not turned the ball over much this year.
But you know, from just experience, no matter what the quality of the two teams, the capabilities, there always comes that opportunity. So if you can hang at 3-0, you know you're going to get a chance. Something's going to give you a chance to either win the game or get close. If they can stay this close, we'll have a very interesting second half. Joe Restic knows that.
And you, as a former coach, I'm sure you told your players many times, if you got a chance to win in the fourth quarter, that's all that counts.
That's right.
So Krochickia now looks at a 2nd down and 4 at the Harvard 40-yard line with 49 seconds to go. The big pitch and pressured and sacked back to the 48-yard line. Number 99, Don Peterson. Hello, Mr. Krochickia.
Peterson, the sophomore from West Islip, New York, will come from the right of the screen here. There is nobody blocking. They release the tight end, so he comes clean. Krochickia never had a chance. Another timeout for Pennsylvania. Going into that play, Jim Krochickia was 5 of 12 passes for 59 yards and 1 interception, and there is Don Peterson. And again, he's an example of this Harvard defense today and for most of the season, playing very aggressively, hustling, big play.
One of the things that's very tough for a quarterback, too, and even though the ball was on the right hash mark, the major part of the field is to the left. When you play action to your left and you got to spin around with a right-handed quarterback, you're blindsided from the right side, and that's what happened that time. As you take a look where we'll be next week in Cambridge with the game, and also we got bonus coverage with Cornell and Penn.
That's right. You're going to see that game, and we'll be able to plug in and report on what's happening up in Ithaca with the Penn Quakers and the Big Red of Cornell. Here we go. 3rd down and 11. 31 seconds remain here in the second quarter. The ball sitting on the 47-yard line of Harvard. Jim Krochickia has got a 3rd and 11.
And they're double covering both wide receivers. Let's look for number 85, the tight end. He's looking for Andrews, and he catches it and drops it at the 28. Would have been a first down. A good throw by Krochickia.
And a good call. Harvard in a 2-deep defense. They were covering the deep secondary with 2 backs. Underneath they had 5 receivers. He's trying to put it between the free safety out there and the outside linebacker. He does it. Saunders doesn't hold on to the football. So it's 4th and 11, 25 seconds. Penn will punt the football here, and Harvard will go off at halftime very close in this tough football game.
Harvard looking like they're going to go after the punt, and they do. Bosnock gets it away. A high kick. Fair catch by Eberle at the 25-yard line. So Harvard only trailing 3-0 with 18 seconds to go in the first half. Here on a field that's quickly drying up.
We had some rain. We had a little bit of snow flurries. It was kind of wet in the beginning, but it's dried off. It really is not a factor today at this point in the game, and it's a good track out there for them.
And a 3-0 going into halftime, assuming nothing is going to happen on this last play. The psychological edge has got to be with Harvard. They're only trailing 3-0. Penn's got to be thinking to themselves. They're 2-6 prior to today, as Pusateri breaks the tackle and gets out to the 31-yard line, which should be the last play of the first half. But they're still only down 3 points, and 2-6. Penn probably thinks they should be up 14 points.
Exactly. So you got two factors working here. Penn can go in and say, hey, what's happening to us? And Harvard, of course, Joe Resnick's going to really promote the fact that we're close and this is anybody's ball game, fellas.
So that's the end of the first half. Pennsylvania leading Harvard 3-0. We'll be back with halftime activities at Franklin Field after this word from your local station.
This holiday season, you're invited to meet the TV12 family. Gather round for a traditional holiday favorite the whole family can enjoy, The Nutcracker with Mikhail Baryshnikov. It's a spectacular performance you don't want to miss. And the music doesn't stop, not with a performance by James Galway. Join all your favorite Sesame Street pals for a special holiday program. It's Christmas on Sesame Street. Wonderworks has some wonderful things in store, like Anne of Green Gables. And on Nature, find out the fickle fancies of our feline friends. Cats, from the king of the beasts to the queen of the couch, on Nature. Spend some time with our family, November 29th through December 13th, right here on TV12, your home for the holidays.
Rivers, the natural razors that score the face of every land. This great river winds toward the Gulf of Mexico, carrying old lands and building new, moving people and cargo, continuing to make and change the continent. It is a story that involves the lives of all Americans, the story of the Mississippi.
The Great River, Wednesday at 8.
I said, you know, Pa, as I was calling him, your illustrations, there's no one that can touch you.
He was always, you know, this is marvelous, that's bully, you know, that kind of thing.
There's just no one like my father.
N.C. Wyeth, the immensely vital American artist, a portrait by his children. The next Smithsonian World.
Wednesday night at 9. This is TV 12 WHYY.
Some of the stats of the first half, and the edge to Penn in total offense and rushing, but not significant.
Not significant. They passed a little bit more today, not with great success, but they put the ball up. It's a pretty even football game. Pennsylvania will have the choice this half. They'll take the ball. The Harvard defense, which has looked very impressive in the first half, will have a chance to hold them again and get the ball back for their offense. The key will be early. As you know, coming back on the field at the halftime, it's always important who has the edge. If you can take away that edge, Penn here getting the football, it may be very important for the Harvard offense.
Turnovers even, 2 apiece, as Andy Moretz will kick off for Harvard. A senior out of Woodbridge, Connecticut. It's his first action of the afternoon. Deep for Penn, Jim Bruni and Chris Flynn. And Bruni at his 10. The 20. And up over the 30-yard line. Before he's brought down by number 54, John Keenan. So Jim Krochickia will come back on the field. You know, as a quarterback, too, as we get a little more into the third quarter, he's got to get a little more frustrated because he's got a high-powered offense and he's only got 3 points. So a lot of times you try to get too much too quickly instead of just getting the first downs. The touchdowns will come after that. And not really that great a half for Jim Krzyzewski. 5 out of 12 with 1 interception. First down at the 31. The pitch, Camizio. 45, 50, breaks a tackle, midfield. Don Eberle finally runs him out of bounds at the 28-yard line.
And that's the way you get back into your sink, by getting the ball to the guy that can do it for you, and they didn't waste any time. They pitched the ball to Camizio, going back into the sideline behind his tight end and his left tackle, Scott Ernst. Look at that hole open up, and there's Camizio, the all-time rusher. Big play, and again, Heberle makes the big hit for Harvard and saves a touchdown. Penn's now got the ball on the Harvard 28-yard line, 1st and 10.
And Camizio taking a breather, but with that run very close to the all-time rushing record for one season. He's got the career mark. He needed 71 yards going into today's game. Very close to that amount already.
And substitutions, he's out. Back into the game comes Flynn. And very important here for this Penn football team offensively. We mentioned it, to get on the scoreboard early. Injury on the field. Number 89, Greg Williams. It looks like 89, Greg Williams. If it is, he's the defensive tackle, a junior from Wellesley Hills, Massachusetts. It's number 99, and that is Dan Peterson, the sophomore.
That rush did put Rich Camizio as the all-time single-season rushing record holder here at Pennsylvania. 892 yards so far this season, with a game and a half to go. Harvard's defense playing very well so far, and first half, the type of injury, I mean, they can't afford to lose these guys.
Well, they lost their outstanding captain and linebacker Scott Collins to a knee injury in the first half. Peterson, number 99, has been playing defensive end, and as we see this replay of Camizio's run, we see 99 coming in at the end and just being hit out of bounds. The Penn blocker came in out of bounds, and looks like he rolled on his leg, and it either is a lower leg or knee injury.
Well, he's up and he's walking gingerly, so
he looks okay.
Keep an eye out to see if he gets back in the game. So Pennsylvania now looking at a 1st and 10 at the Harvard 28, looking to get on the board with their first touchdown of the afternoon. 2 tight ends. Flynn on the cutback, breaks a tackle at the 25 and run out at the 20-yard line.
He just ran through the tackle of Dan Steer, the nose guard, who was in the backfield, and shows the versatility of Chris Flynn. He not only has quickness and cutback ability, but he has a lot of strength, and he just ran out of that tackle and made a big gain out of what looked like a loss.
So Penn will now look at a 2nd down and 2, just inside the Harvard 20-yard line. 2 tight ends. Clark up the middle, and he gets a 1st down and inside the 15.
Penn offensive line coming off the football, really getting into the defenders now. A big offensive line, 6'3", 225 Wilkins, Bonato at 230, Panzini 225, and Marty Peterson at 260.
Joyce and Camizio back in the game, and Andrews and Flynn come out. So Pennsylvania running out of a 2 tight end setup with 1 wide receiver. Camizio, the tailback. He's got it. And tripped up at the 13-yard line. Chris Tabbitt.
Chris Tabbitt makes a big hit and a quick hit right on the line of scrimmage, holding Camizio to a very short gain, forcing a 2nd down and 9. Penn has not moved the ball in close today. They come with the 2 tight end offense as you describe it, because it gives them an advantage to run to either side. They've got those blockers in tight. They can run off tackle and outside.
And as the field shrinks, the defense comes close to the line of scrimmage to make the... But Penn's play calling gets a little conservative down here. Camizio off tackle, stays on his feet down to the 5-yard line. Very close to a 1st down.
Good balance, good running, hard running, just running over people. Second effort. He's been doing that throughout his varsity career. As we see from ground level, the counterplay again, following number 75, Chris Wilkins, the guard, right upfield, and 77, Scott Ernst. And there's that great ability to lower, keep the shoulders, really never give him the legs to tackle him. You know
we got word
that
Don Peterson, shaken up a couple of minutes ago, will not return. He suffered a knee injury. So another bad break for Harvard. Penn looking at a 3rd and short. The pitch. Comizio breaks it up and touchdown.
Comizio just taking a short pitch, looking to break it in or out. This time he sees the hole inside, and he follows the blocking of number 68, Jim Panzini, the right guard, and there's a lot of room for him to maneuver. Touchdown, impressive drive by the Penn Quakers.
I think you and I both could have gotten through that hole. Jim Grass good on the extra point, so Penn extends their lead to 10-0 over Harvard early in the 3rd quarter here at Franklin Field in Philadelphia.
Just what you don't want to happen from the Harvard side, from Joe Restig's side. You didn't want to give up points early. You wanted to stay close. Very impressive of Pennsylvania, moving right down the field, featuring Rich Comizio. And as we see him here, he's going in for the score behind his fullback and the right side of his offensive line. And you're right.
And the play was designed to go off tackle, but the pursuit went to that off tackle spot. Comizio cut it back. Wide open hole. Going in, standing up.
7 plays, 2 minutes and 6 seconds. They went 68 yards, commenced by a 5-yard touchdown run by Rich Comizio. And already he's nearing in on the 100-yard mark with 97 on 15 rushes, and we've got practically a whole half left in this ball game.
Pennsylvania getting on the board very quickly here in the 3rd quarter. Harvard will try to answer them. Jim Grass, the junior out of Ottsville, Pennsylvania, will kick off for the Quakers. Deep for Harvard, Glatz and Pusateri, a low bouncer. Field and picked up at the 34-yard line. And run out of bounds finally at the 43-yard line. Number 47, Tony Hines, a linebacker. Grass sort of hits a knuckleball, hits the middle of the ball as opposed to underneath, so he doesn't get any height at all. A break for Harvard puts him in pretty good field position.
Harvard content on running the football, running a little option, featuring the single back. Has to open up a little bit here, get the ball upfield, get some yardage, get some first downs.
The give to O'Neal and almost the give to Mike Lista.
And that's what happens. The offense takes the ball, marches down the field in less than 2 minutes to score. The defense comes firing on the field. Lista makes a big play, and he's been making a lot of big plays for this Quaker team all season. He's a junior from Hamilton, New Jersey, very quick. His brother Bill captained the 1983 Penn football
that's the one
team.
thing that Harvard didn't want to do, is immediately be put in a passing situation. But Lista's great play puts him 2nd down and 12 at their 41. Yohe on the short roll, looking back, cross field, and almost picked off, but held on by O'Neal, and he barely gets back to the line of scrimmage. Hippensteel almost with the interception for Pennsylvania.
And that's what happens when you have a linebacker with the ability to run that Hippensteel has shown all year. He's very quick, and he had a good sense about him, and he came up, almost picked that play off. So it's 3rd down and 12 for sophomore Tom Yohe, the quarterback of Harvard. Tough, as you mentioned, a tough situation to be in. 3rd and 12, the defense starts dictating to the offense.
And that's a very dangerous pass to throw back across the green, almost like a flare pass, but near the sideline. Pressured quickly. And he finally is nailed at the 40-yard line. Lista again, along with Jeff Fortna.
And this is the critical point in the game. Penn scores, the defense takes over on the next series. They can't afford to give up anymore. Here we see it now. There is the effort of Lista making the play. Lots of mobility. When you're 6'3", 245 pounds, you got that kind of lateral movement. You're a tough target to block. Pressure's going to be on Harvard now. They're going to give the football back to the Penn offense, and they're going to have to play tough on defense. They can't afford to let this game get away from them now.
And a penalty marker down 15 yards against Harvard.
Dead ball, personal foul, offense, 4th down.
Charlie Clue, the referee, telling us all about it.
And that's the worst thing that could have happened to Harvard. Not only being stopped, but additional 15 yards gives Penn the opportunity to start a new drive at midfield.
Especially when you got Chris Flynn sitting back there as the lone safety on his own 42-yard line.
O'Neal at his own 12 gets the punt away and gets a good punt. Flynn back at his 31, 35, and out to the 39-yard line. So a good punt by Brian O'Neal.
And there is Mike Lista, number 94. Only a junior.
43-yard punt by O'Neal, return of 8. But Penn once again with pretty good field position, beginning at their own 39-yard line. 2 tight ends once again, and it gives to Clark, and he's knocked down, and a fumble. Harvard's got it at the Pennsylvania 44-yard line. Number 46, Jack Patterson, on the recovery for the Crimson. And the break we talked about.
The break they needed, and in good field position. They need the ball upfield where they can maneuver a little better. And the offense comes right back on the field, and there's the hit inside on the right side by the Brian Sullivan, the defensive tackle. Number 97 was part of that. Coughed the ball up. Harvard's got the ball on the 45-yard line of Penn.
So we'll see if they can take advantage. Sabaro sneaks his way down to the 40-yard line. Pickup of about 4.
George Sabara, the senior, injured for 2 games this year, back healthy today. He's a senior from Naples, Florida, majoring in history, a durable back. He's played a lot of football throughout his career. He and Joe Pusateri, the 2 seniors at that halfback position, they alternate them, and they run them a lot on sweeps and off-tackle plays.
And a score here by Harvard could really boost the morale on their defensive side. Glatz gets some blocks. He's got a first down. And finally run out of bounds at the 25-yard line.
Hippensteel on the tackle, the outside linebacker coming up to make the play, but not before Bob Glatz, a junior from Topsfield, Massachusetts, makes another first down, and Dartmouth and Harvard's got the ball deep in Penn territory.
Harvard bringing in the plays by their tailbacks. Joe Pusateri in for Glatz. Bringing in the play from the sideline. As we take a good look at Tom Yohe, the sophomore quarterback. O'Neal. Sabaro with the carry, and down to the 20-yard line. Harvard on the move.
Wilson, the cornerback, number 21, up to make the play for Pennsylvania, but not before Sabara running the ball back into the sideline, away again from the field. Makes good yardage, 6 yards, well ahead of schedule. Harvard, the best field position they've had today, running the football.
The type of down and distance situation that Harvard wants to stay in. 2nd and 4, keep the pressure off their sophomore quarterback. The roll left. He's got a man open, and he overthrows Ed Boyle at the 5-yard line. The tight end.
And a good call, a very good call. 2nd and 4, you think they're going to keep the ball on the ground. They come up with a good, strong play action. And that tight end, as we described him many times, coming open underneath. He was open, but the sophomore just threw it a little too high, Yohe. Into the ball game, number 33, Joe Pusateri, the senior halfback. He and Sabaro, number 40, now at the running back positions for Harvard.
A tough throw for a quarterback going to his left, but for Harvard to stay in the game, they got to come up with the big plays. Pusateri tripped up and barely gets back to the 15. Actually a pickup of about 3, very close to a first down, so we'll have to take a look.
Pusateri made the first down, but they put it down where his knee hit, so they move it back, and he's going to be short by a yard, and Joe Restic is going to be faced with a decision here. It's 4th down and 1. The ball's sitting right on the 16-yard line. He trails 10-0.
Tony Hines, a tailback, coming in with a play, so they're going to go for it. They need about just over a yard. Pusateri, and he's going to get it. First down for Hahvahrd. Fumble, but ruled dead. Just inside the 15.
And they went on a quick count. They came right in, got down, and went before the Penn defense was set. They really took advantage of this. They're off. And Pusateri's on that corner real quick with all those blockers. 63, Jim Higgins, the left guard, leads the way. He gets the first down.
Well, there's we see the ball come out. I think it was shielded by the official, but Hahvahrd gets a break. They keep possession. First down at the Penn 14-yard line. The pitch, Sabaro, and knocked down. A pickup of about 1 or 2 yards. Sebastianelli along with Parsons and most of the interior Pennsylvania defense.
But you see that the real problem that Harvard's offense has faced all year is the ability to get outside. They've done that fairly well on this drive, but back inside it's tough to run against this Penn defense. They're too big, they're too active. They've got to get on the corner or throw the football. And 2nd and 8 with the ball on the 12-yard line, they may have to come up throwing right here.
Well, maybe they feel against a 3-man front that they can go at those linebacker pockets, but they're tight going. Yohe pressured, and he's sacked back to the 20-yard line. A.J. Sebastianelli.
Great penetration. That front 3 came in, got in the backfield, pressured him, but again, he should not be taking those losses. He's got to look upfield and get rid of that football. He can't afford to look at 3rd and 16 with the ball on the 20 now.
Tom Yohe is not alone in being pressured to pass this season against the Pennsylvania defense, but a lot of pressure on the quarterback. 3rd and 16, the reverse to Conley. He's got a blocker. He gets by the linebacker. He does, but he's run out of the 18. Good recovery by Brad Hines. Well set up, but good pursuit by the Pennsylvania defense.
Very good pursuit. The speed, they adjusted to it. It was a good call. As we see, he sprints to the left as if he's going to pass, and he hands back to Connolly, being chased by Sebastianelli, a defensive end, but it was Hines who came over from the rover position to knock him out of bounds, and we've got a shot here at 3 points by Hahvahrd.
Andy Moretz will attempt it from the 25, making it a 35-yard field goal attempt. Kick is down, and it's wide to the right. He had the distance, but no good. So Pennsylvania retains their 10-0 lead with 7:46 left to go in the 3rd quarter.
A good drive by that Harvard football team. They moved the ball down, but then they came up with the big loss on the pass.
Shot at Andy Moretz. Knew it right away.
Kind of the frustration that's faced this club all year.
Pennsylvania will take over at their own 20 with Comizio. Breaks a tackle and out to the 30-yard line for a Pennsylvania first down.
And the ability of Comizio to take the tackler on and just bounce off him. He got hit twice. As he breaks through the line, we see a hit here by 21. That's not enough. You got to wrap those arms around him, and he makes extra yards on his own effort. He's gone over 100 yards now with 7:26 left in the ball game. That's the sixth time in 9 games that he's gone over 100 yards this season.
Once again, Comizio slips down a wet spot on the field at the 32. At 5'9", 200, we mentioned, you aren't going to get it by blocking him down. You got to wrap him up.
You got to hit him around the ankles. He's low to the ground. He gives you a lot of shoulder pad. You really have to get him around the ankles if you're going to make the play. And here comes the substitutions, the depth that this Penn team has. Rich Comizio comes out. Chris Flynn comes in. They alternate now both the fullback. Tom Clark comes back in at fullback. So you've got Clark in front of the tailback, Chris Flynn.
And you just wonder what Comizio's stats would be had he been playing every single down at tailback. Flynn, wide, out to the 38-yard line before Bob Joyce brings him down, but not before a pickup of about 6.
Power football, the thing that's got him there all year, the emphasis on the tailback. Flynn, the great cutback runner that time, shows his speed on the corner and stays outside, picks up 8 yards.
And he comes out, Comizio back in for a 3rd down and 2. 2 tight ends for Pennsylvania. Comizio over the 40-yard line, and another Pennsylvania 1st down.
Good block that time by Scott Ernst, number 77, the left tackle, a senior from Tiverton, Rhode Island, who pulled and led up into the hole and made the play and the possibility for Comizio not only to get the 1st down, to get extra yardage, and it's 1st and 10, the ball's on the 43, and Pennsylvania is starting not only to run and control the ball, but eat up the clock.
Probably the type of time now that you can see play action and go for the big score. Flynn stays on his feet up to the 47. Fumbles, but after the whistle.
Part of the Parents' Day crowd, a big crowd here at Franklin Field today. The last home game of the season for the Penn Quakers. They travel next week to Ithaca, New York, to meet Cornell.
Prochicchia looking deep for Novoselsky. He's got him open and brought down by number 21 at the 12-yard line, Tony Cretton. Another big play for Novoselsky. Took advantage of the play action, sent his tight end deep over the middle.
The junior Novoselsky with the size and the speed to get deep, perfectly thrown by Prochicchia. Good elevation on the fall. It gives Novoselsky a chance to run under the catch, and we see him coming from the slot position. There's a flanker outside of him, but there's the speed to get outside. He drops it right over his shoulder. It's a perfect pass. Big catch.
Far up the middle, stays on his feet, down to the 3-yard line. Tony Cretton again on the stop. You saw in that ISO, Bob, 6'3", 235, a big tight end, but he's got the speed to get deep.
And there's 34 Clark. They handed him the ball that time. Now you see the offensive line, the pickup. They're starting to really control the line of scrimmage and taking charge. The offense is really starting to get into the Harvard defense and really controlling this ball game.
2nd down and goal at the 2-yard line. Excuse me, 2nd down and 1 to go. For a 1st down, 2 for a touchdown. Comizio stays on his feet. Touchdown, Rich Comizio. Jim Grass will attempt the extra point. Scott Morcott to hold. And it's good. So Pennsylvania, with 3:39 left to go in the 3rd quarter, goes out 17-0 over Harvard.
And there is number 40, Rich Comizio, the senior from New Fairfield, Connecticut, on that counter play that they've made famous here at Pennsylvania. There's the balance. He knows where that end zone is.
You can't say enough for this front 5 blockers. Watch Scott Ernst from this left tackle pull all the way to the right and seal the defensive end, giving Comizio the hole. 8-play drive, 407, going 80 yards, capped by a 3-yard touchdown run by Rich Comizio. Comizio now 19 carries, 117 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
And Jim Prochicchia, he's smiling now. He's been in charge for the last 2 years at quarterback. Came into this season knowing that he had to just operate the offense, highlight the guys with the strength, the Comizios and the Flynns, and he's done that. And it took him a little while in this ball game, but in the second half they got back to the things they do best, and now they're starting to dominate play.
And ask any quarterback, the easiest time to throw is when you got a great ground game and the defense has to pile it up to try to stop giving the receivers a chance to get out open and deep. Bob Glatz at his 10, 15, cuts back, gets by the coverage, out to the 40, and the 42-yard line before brought down by the kicker, Jim Grass. A good move by Bob Glatz.
There it is. 8 plays, 80 yards, a little over 4 minutes. Rich Comizio with the score. Jim Grass with the kick. Penn leads 17-0 with 3:32 in the third period.
And we've got Chris Evans, a backup linebacker, hurt for Pennsylvania, being helped off the field. They've changed the blocking rules in the last couple years in college football to try to avoid that, but you still get a lot of injuries on kickoffs and punts.
Blocking below the waist, that's what does it to you. Comizio has 114 yards today with 18 carries. His 9th career 100-yard gain. His 6th sixth 100-yard gain today.
Husateri on the carry, but a penalty marker down.
Okay, things coming apart now a little bit for the Crimson of Harvard as Ed Zubero looks out there. The first-year coach, undefeated. He signaled out there he wants that penalty. He wants the big penalty and pushing him back, making it 1st and long. Joe Rustic showing the frustration of a long season for him. He's been racked with injuries this year. He lost his starting quarterback, Scott Marcotte. His starting quarterback.
Holding, offense, 10-yard penalty, still 1st down.
David Lando in the first game. When they lost Lando, they had to experiment with other people. They never got their offense going with any consistency, and it's hurt them from game to game. We talked about the loss of Lamont Greer, the fine wide receiver for the season. Rufus Jones, the running back, and they've struggled with their offense, and today they're struggling again, trailing 17-0.
Take it away! Take it away! Take it away!
Yohe looking for Conley, complete but out of bounds. We talked earlier, Bob, about the performance of the defense. We asked 2 weeks ago, Carmen Koza, how he builds his team by defense. But the defense, it's really a coordinated effort, because if the offense doesn't get on the board, the defense can only hold so long.
Looking around the Ivy League, Cornell moving ahead of Columbia. Brown up only by 1 point in the third quarter against Dartmouth. And Princeton leading Yale in the third period, 10-3 in New Haven.
Tom Yohe now looking at a 2nd down and 20 at his own 31-yard line. Pressure and sacked. 45. Bruce McConnell blitzing from his linebacker position.
And we see him come. McConnell will come right through the block. He got up on the line of scrimmage and just beat the block of the right guard, Hal Watson, on the line of scrimmage and was right up in Yohe's face. And now you know the situation. 3rd and 27. What's the choice for the quarterback?
It's a time when he looks for the coach for the call, and the coach turns his back on. He says, you got into it, you get out of it. Linebackers blitzing, very tough to handle by the offensive line because the quickness advantage for the linebackers. Yohe pressured again and sacked again. Number 54, Dan Bauer.
Another linebacker into the game. They're coming with their depth now. They've pressured. What they've done is they moved Mike Lista, the outstanding defensive tackle, to the nose position, and he was in there on the center, permitted the linebacker to come free. Harvard punting the football.
O'Neal gets it away, kicks it away from Flynn, gets a Harvard bounce, but Flynn's got it at the 41, and that's all. As Harvard's punt coverage gets down very quickly. Penn ahead 17-0 with 1:47 left to go in the third quarter.
Boston College continues to lead the fourth quarter against Syracuse. North Carolina State well ahead of Duke. Early score at halftime, Michigan and Rutgers trailing Pitt by 1.76.
Penn shifting with their 2 tight ends, unbalanced to the right. Flynn, and not much as he gets close to the 42-yard line. Pickup of about 1. of the Harvard contingency here at Franklin Field.
Parents' weekend at Franklin Field. Very happy crowd now on this side.
2nd down and 9 at the Pennsylvania 42-yard line. Jim Krochicki, the quarterback. 2 tight ends. The pitch to Flynn. He cuts it back. 45, stays on his feet to the 48. Clifton Tidwell on the stop for Harvard.
Number 98, Tidwell, the defensive end from Evanston, Illinois, comes in to make the hit. And another Harvard injury. Harvard's really been racked with injuries this season. In this game alone, they lost Scott Collins, their captain, in the first half. Don Peterson, a defensive end, went down in the 3rd quarter. And now another injury. Been a tough year for injuries for Joe Restic. It looks like it's the free safety, number 21, Tony Critton, a senior, that's down.
So Harvard there we go, part of the resurgence and rebirth of the Pennsylvania football supremacy here.
As you look around Franklin Field, you just go across and you start seeing all those championship banners that they've won, and it's an amazing turnaround. In 1982 it all began. 82, 83, 84, 85, and now in 86 in the 9th game of the season. They're undefeated in Ivy League as well as season play. Moving towards their showdown next week in Ithaca against Cornell, and we'll be there too to bring some of the highlights of that game. As we go to Cambridge to do the Harvard-Yale game, we will go back and show highlights of the Cornell-Penn game from Ithaca.
Part of that success that Pennsylvania has breeds itself. You get used to winning, you keep on winning.
Critton, Tony Critton, number 21, the senior government major from Cincinnati, Ohio, coming in at free safety. Injured on that play, fortunately walks off. He looks like he's okay.
3rd down and 2 for Pennsylvania at their own 48-yard line. 2 tight ends. Cremizio breaks a tackle, but knocked down by number 70, Joe Walsh, very close to a 1st down.
And we've got an official's timeout on the field as we look at Tony Critton on the sideline. Looks like they're adjusting, looking at his shoulder. We're going to have a measurement here. 3rd down and 2. They get very close to the 1st-yard markers.
Showing those Ivy League championship banners, you know, it really helps recruiting when you see those banners, and future students want to be part of that success.
So here it is, 4th down and inches. The ball sitting right on just past the 50-yard line on the Harvard side of the 50-yard line. Ed Zubro makes his decision. He's going to punt the football.
He gets some negative reaction by the crowd, but he
doesn't want to give Harvard any opportunity to get back in his football game. With 25 seconds remaining in the 3rd period, he'd rather punt the ball, put them deep in their territory, and let his defense get back in the field and maybe get it back for him in good field position.
Plus, there's a lot more chance of making an error by the offense when you got to go 80 yards as opposed to only 50. So Fosnot looking at a long count, maybe trying to get Harvard off sides. The snap, pressure, he gets it away, not very good, but he gets a Pennsylvania bounce.
It's going to end up pretty good.
It will be inside the 15-yard line. So
very effective, very effective.
So that is the end of the 3rd quarter. Pennsylvania 17, Harvard nothing. We'll be right back after a word from our underwriters. The Ivy League Football Game of the Week is made possible by grants from the financial professionals at Payne Weber and by Chrysler, makers of Plymouth Voyager, where the pride is back. Harvard will take over at their own 12-yard line, beginning the 4th period on the short end of a 17-0.
Scores from around the country. The Big Ten, Iowa in the 2nd quarter leading Purdue 14-7. And Holy Cross undefeated in the East. One of the few undefeated teams in the country ahead of William and Mary, 17-7 in the 3rd period.
Part of the tradition here, I guess we've seen it here. We were here a few weeks ago and we saw a toast on the field. We don't really know why they're doing it, but...
Well, it could be left over from the Commons. You don't know. That's right. That's exactly what it is. They're
toasting
their team. They're toasting the championship teams, and they're looking at another potential one this year. A happy Parents' Day crowd in Franklin Field as Penn takes a 17-0 lead into the fourth quarter against the Crimson of Harvard. Besides all the toasting of the football team, here are some of the outstanding alumni who went to the University of Pennsylvania. Kramer versus Kramer. A lot of great accomplishments, and of course Mr. William Paley in the class of 22.
Yohe again on the short dump. He's got O'Neal at the 15. Breaks a tackle, and he's run out at the 18-yard line. So Yohe trying to get rid of it quickly before he suffers another sack. Spent most of that third quarter on his back.
When you look at this Harvard offense and the kind of play the quarterback has, a lot of rollout, play action. When you're trailing 17-0, it's pretty hard to set up and throw the kind of passes you need to get back in this ball game.
Well, Joe has always wanted to use the short passes off the option run, the option pass. So it's never been a drop back type of offense for Harvard, even over the years. Glatz up to about the 25-yard line, and a first down for Harvard. So it's not anything new, even being down 17-0 for the type of offense that he's got to direct in the fourth quarter.
What he's got to direct in the fourth quarter is he's got to get upfield. You've got to get some kind of a way of breaking a receiver, getting somebody deep. Trailing by that amount, it's very hard to do it on the ground, keep it outside, or the short passing game. And that's been a problem for him all year, and it's a bigger problem when you look at a sophomore and inexperienced quarterback.
Pressured again, he's looking, keeps it, and out to the 28. A bigger problem than that, though, Bob. He's got to have time to throw, and when he takes a longer drop, he's getting pressured.
What it comes down to is in this situation, you really don't have much going for you offensively. You got to get a break because the defense knows you're in that situation. And the kind of defense that Penn has, they can just let those three people come after you. They've got the ability to rush on their own because they're quick and they've got good range. So Tom Yohe's got tremendous pressure on him, and he's really in a great learning situation for the future. That's what it amounts to.
6 out of 11 for 40 yards, so he stayed short, but his only hope is to stay short, and he's looking for his tight end. A beautiful catch. Ed Boyle at the Pennsylvania 48, around the defender. Beautiful diving catch.
And that's the kind of big play you got to give this sophomore. He has to lay the ball in the middle to Boyle coming from the right side, getting behind the linebacker and in front of the safety man. You can't do it any better than that. That's Ed Boyle. He's a senior from Bridgeport, Connecticut, number 94, starting today because of the injury to Jim Morris, their senior starter.
And Harvard going on a quick count, catching Penn, not in line up. And Harvard gets about 8 yards. They ran even before Penn was lined up. Joe Pusateri on the carry.
They did that once before when they had a first down opportunity. They get up on the ball and they go on the snap count. The defense wasn't ready. And they probably have 1 or 2 plays. It's almost like an automatic on the line of scrimmage, right?
Pennsylvania a little lax in lining up that time. They better be ready. A lot of times they don't line their defense up until the offense declares their strength with the tight end, but they better be ready.
You got Harvard shifting all the time, or moving or motion, so that limits the adjustments they can make also.
O'Neal up the middle, and he gets very close to a first down.
O'Neal gets the first down. O'Neal, the senior fullback, has done a good job, number 37. He's averaging 4.7 yards per carry. He's the leading rusher on this team, and that tells you something about that. Well, the fullback in the multiplex is the leading rusher.
It shows they've been inconsistent. Usually the tailback is the primary ball carrier for Harvard, although a lot of times the fullback will line up as a wingback, so a fullback's really not a fullback per se, as we see nobody's behind Yohe this time. And Penn does not come with a blitz. He looks quickly, and he's got Sabaro at the 25, down to the 20, another Harvard first down.
That time they just flooded the area. They had 3 receivers to one side. The adjustment wasn't made. Somebody got lost in the shovel, and all of a sudden Sabaro comes open. There you go. And they've got 3 guys turning back to the football. All 3 hook. Sabaro's open in the middle.
It's the old 3-on-2 fast break in basketball. You just throw the guy that there's no blue shirt next to, and Yowie picked him out well that time. So Harvard calls a timeout with 12:22 left to go in the game, trailing 17-0. There's another one of the distinguished Pennsylvania alumni. Miss America in 1954.
Well, Joe was on the main line at one time, but he wasn't Miss America. He was going to Villanova, and right now he's talking to his quarterback, Tom Yowie, trailing 17-0, but a good drive going here. They've got the ball on the 20-yard line of Penn, 1st and 10.
And they put a touchdown over here, Bob. Will give their defense a real shot in the arm to get that ball back for them, because there's plenty of time, but the first score is the most important. Next week, the game, Harvard and Yale in Cambridge, and in addition we'll have bonus coverage from Ithaca with Pennsylvania playing Cornell.
That's right. We'll be able to plug in there and find out the highlights of that as the game proceeds, and we'll be covering a real tradition. I've never seen a Harvard-Yale game, so I'm looking forward to it.
Pitch, Pusateri, and tripped up behind the line of scrimmage.
Behind the line of scrimmage that time, coming in quickly, was number 38, Smith. Smith is a rover back. He's only a sophomore. Dave Smith. Is a flag down on the field here.
And we've got a personal foul on Pennsylvania. So break for the Crimson.
A big break. That flag was thrown against number 45, Bruce McConnell, the senior linebacker. What I was trying to finish off was Dave Smith, the rover back who made that big hit on Pusateri, is only a sophomore, came in the backfield to make the hit.
Dead ball, personal foul, defense, first down.
Dead ball foul.
So that will put Harvard on Pennsylvania's 10.5-yard line. The pitch to Sabaro, who stays on his feet, and down to the 8.
And that's the way you got to run in there. That's tough running against a very active and aggressive defense. So Barrett trying to get what he can, picks up a couple of yards inside the 10-yard line. The ball sitting on the 8, 2nd down and 7. He can make a first down without scoring a touchdown. And that tells it all. Second in scoring defense, allowing only 6 points a game. And they had to rebuild that defense from last year. They lost a lot of starters off that club, 8, and they've replaced those 8 starters. And they're very, very impressive this year again.
Yowie pressured in the pocket, and he's sacked back to the 12.
Looking that time for Phillips, the wide receiver, in the end zone, but he never had a chance.
Ross Parsons all over Tom Yowie.
Ross Parsons, the sophomore, coming in here. You'll see him from the left side of the screen. There he is, putting the pressure on and making the hit. The sophomore from Florida, economics major, getting his chance to play because of injuries to Mike Graves, the sophomore nose guard, and of course the senior Dexter Desir out with a broken wrist.
Harvard this time with 4 receivers to the wide side. Pennsylvania comes with a blitz. He's pressured. He throws to Phillips, and incomplete at the 3. That's the problem with no backs. There's no protection, so you don't have much time to throw, as Harvard will have to settle for a field goal attempt. Pennsylvania showing why they've only allowed 6 points per game. Very tough inside the 15.
Well, it permits them to go tight, play tight coverage, and come after you, and they've got the kind of guys that can run to the football.
And Andy Moretz with the kick, putting Harvard on the board with 10:35 left to go in the game. Now trails Pennsylvania by 2 touchdowns, 17-3.
Getting back to the Penn defense, they have the ability to run. They're not that big in the secondary nor the linebacker core, but they run to the football so well, and you can turn those guys loose. They can put pressure on the passer and the run, and they can also play pass coverage.
And the way I would attack, or try to attack, Pennsylvania defense down in is a delay across the grain. They are so aggressive in their pursuit that you've got to slow them down.
And Joe Restic, coming into this game, thought that he could run the counter plays and do that kind of a cross or counter passing game. His big question was, will we have time to do it? Today, he hasn't had the time. They're open if you can get the ball to him, but they put so much pressure on him that he hasn't had a chance to throw the football.
That scoring drive, 9 plays, taking up 4:25 off the clock, going 78 yards. So a good drive for Harvard, culminating in their field goal.
They would have loved to add a touchdown on that, but they came away with some points, and that's important to them. Now they've got to get a turnover. They've got to get the ball back soon and get a shot at another score to hang in this ball game.
Moretz will tee it up just to the left of the right hash mark. Deep for Pennsylvania, Chris Flynn and Jim Bruni standing on about the 9-yard line. Bruni will handle it at the 19, 30, and bowls his way to the 34.
Jim Krochickia coming back into the ball game as the Penn crowd